So I have a little announcement. I'm going back to a full-time job working in-house as a textile designer. I'm really excited. I am going back to work for the old company that I used to work for before I moved to Birmingham, Alabama, but in 2020, my husband and I decided to move back to Atlanta, so we're back here now. A new position opened up for an entire new category that they asked me to lead. I can't say too much about it yet. I'm really excited, happily accepted the position. But you might be wondering, well, after 2.5 years of working independently, why did you want to go back to a full-time job? I think sometimes nowadays with all the boss babe marketing going around, kind of the dream of working for yourself as an artist or working independently, the idea of being at a full-time job seems less appealing, but there are some real pros to being in-house, and so let's talk about the pros and cons of both. So some of the benefits of being at an in-house job are, of course, a full-time salary. You are getting paid regularly and you know what to expect rather than your income kind of fluctuating up and down as it can when you're working independently. Number two, you get a 401k, hopefully with an employer match, which is also additional income, and it's very practical to save for retirement. Of course, you can also do this as an independent artist, but at least for me, I wasn't able to do that in the 2.5 years that I was working independently. Maybe I could have gotten there eventually, but honestly, I just kind of got tired of waiting to earn the same amount that I was earning before in my in-house job. So that's another benefit, that I was just earning more money at an in-house job than I was as a freelancer or independent artist doing licensing. Now again, like I said, I could have maybe eventually gotten there, but I didn't know how long it was going to take, and I just kind of got tired of waiting. You also get health benefits, yay! And your employer covers part of that cost, so that's another huge benefit of working in-house. And you also get PTO, otherwise known as paid time off. So when you're working independently, if you have a huge client project, you kind of become a slave to the clock or a slave to your freelance clients if they have major deadlines, and you might have to work through the weekend or whatever. But at an in-house job, you know a little bit more what to expect in terms of the schedule. I will be working weekends, you know, during market or during trips overseas, but other than that, I will have my weekends. I will get off at a regular time, and yeah, that's just kind of nice. Also now, after the pandemic, a lot of employers are being way more flexible with people's work schedule and also allowing them to work from home. So now that I'm back at an in-house job, we are allowed to work from home through the rest of the year. And then starting in January, we'll be in the office either 2 or 3 days a week, which is awesome because when I worked there before, we were in the office 5 days a week. No exceptions unless you had like an emergency or something going on. But now, yeah, that'll just be part of our regular schedule, as you know, 2 or 3 days a week in the office, kind of depending on what's going on or what you need to do. But that's a huge shift and something I am super excited about, because that's one of the main things I loved about working for myself, is that I got to work from home. I could be in sweatpants. I didn't have to do my hair and makeup, and it was just a lot more relaxed. If I needed lunch, I could just go into the kitchen and I didn't have to think ahead of time about packing a lunch or, you know, making too many preparations or plans to be in the office. The one thing that I will miss about working independently is the complete amount of flexibility that I had throughout my week. If I wanted to work a couple hours on a Saturday and, you know, go get my nails done and go to the grocery store and then take a shower, you know, on a Thursday afternoon, I could do that. And so now that I'm working back at an in-house job, I'll have to be a little bit more careful about, you know, sticking to regular hours, but that's okay. I think the trade-off is more than enough. So now let's talk about some of the things that were really hard about working independently. So what I learned about working independently is that a lot of artists have to have multiple income streams, and it is a lot of work, okay? And so that might mean that you have to do freelance work or teaching to kind of supplement some of your other income streams, such as licensing. Here's my latest fabric collection that I've licensed, and I'm really excited about it, but I did this work 6 months ago and it's just now being released. I haven't gotten any money from it yet. So yeah, so it's just hard to keep up with that when you have to, you know, keep multiple income streams going, you know, active income plus passive income. Most artists have to do that, and you know, if you can focus on just 1 or 2 starting out, I do recommend that. I tended to, you know, get distracted and, you know, have shiny object syndrome and want to do a million different things all at once. I wanted to do teaching, I wanted to do freelance, I wanted to do licensing, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, I wanted to, you know, have a podcast, I wanted to do all the things. I was definitely like running myself a little dry and biting off more than I could chew, to be quite honest. And of course, the other thing is that when you work for yourself, you are not able to just design. You are having to do accounting and marketing and sales, and I hate sales, or you're gonna have to work with an agent and split 50% of your income. So that was tough. All in all, I'm glad I have this experience from working independently for the last 2.5 years. And the exciting thing is that my in-house employer is allowing me to continue licensing, which was a big deal for me because I had worked so hard to get that up and running. And so I'm really appreciative of that. And you know, if that's something that you can work out with a future employer, if you are thinking about going back in-house, again, you may have to have some leverage in order to, you know, get your employer to accept that. I definitely didn't start out with that. This is after, you know, 7 years experience in textile design and then 2.5 years experience in surface pattern design. So I had a senior level of experience and I had already worked with this company before, so they kind of knew what strengths I could bring in joining the team once again. So I'm super excited to be back, and I'm also excited that I can continue licensing. So anyway, that is basically the difference between, you know, being at an in-house job versus being a freelance or surface pattern designer working independently. And I want to normalize that it is totally okay to be at an in-house job. You are probably going to have more time being creative actually working in-house than working independently, because you're not having to wear all those different hats such as marketing, accounting, sales, etc. So I am looking really forward to being creative again and to collaborating with the design team. That's another bit that I should have mentioned, is that, you know, when you work independently, you are a little bit isolated and you don't get to bounce ideas off of other creatives. There are some ways to try to do that. You can join Facebook groups or have Zoom calls with other artists and try to make friends, but it's not quite the same as being in person and having that kind of bond that you get when you are on an actual team that's all kind of working for the same employer. So I'm really excited about getting to work with my colleagues again and developing those friendships, as well as just improving each other's design skills. So I hope that helps explain the difference between, you know, working in-house and being a freelance or independent designer. Make sure to look down in the description for links and goodies from me. I'm over on Instagram at Lauren Leslie Studio, and I will see you over in the next video. Make sure to subscribe. Bye guys.